Prime Minister Mark Carney has just appointed Dawn Farrell to run Canada's brand new Major Projects Office under Bill C-5. Now, on paper, this office is supposed to fast-track so-called nation-building projects. In reality, I think it's the blueprint for the Green Slush Fund 2.0, and Farrell, she's the perfect insider to run it.
These big projects should not require tens of billions of dollars of taxpayer-funded subsidies. They are normally very profitable all by themselves. They get built all around the world by business because they are profitable. But
Farrell made her name at TransAlta here in Alberta, where she didn't just accept Rachel Notley's coal phase-out plan, she helped drive it. Together with Premier Rachel Notley's NDP government here in Alberta and Trudeau's Liberal government in Ottawa, Farrell pushed to shut down coal years ahead of schedule. It was celebrated as climate leadership.
What we get excited about is trying to find ways to give solutions to our customers that allow them to have good prices for their power, that have the kind of environmental attributes that they like.
But what it really was, billions in subsidies, corporate payouts, lost jobs, devastated towns, and skyrocketing power bills. And what did Albertans get in return? A weaker grid. By 2024, families were sitting in the dark during rolling brownouts because the province had no reliable baseload for power.
And all it took was that confluence of factors of high demand at a time when you've got low renewable being generated, as well as planned or unplanned outages of natural gas. And when I saw what happened in Texas a number of years ago, when they had a power grid failure, because they have a very similar market to us, 346 people died. So this isn't just an ideological conversation we're having. We're not just fighting for the sake of fighting. It's very serious when it's minus 35, minus 61 with the wind chill at the Edmonton airport one of those days, and the power goes out. So imagine, it's 5 o'clock at night and you're there cooking dinner and your kids are doing homework and you put on an electric heater to get the extra heat, and then bang, you're plunged into darkness, not knowing when the lights are going to come back on or your furnace is going to start working again.
And then came Farrell's infamous Brookfield deal. Farrell orchestrated a $750 million strategic investment from Brookfield Renewable Partners, Mark Carney's old shop. Brookfield got preferential securities tied to TransAlta's hydro assets. Farrell used the cash for coal to gas conversions and up to $250 million in share buybacks. Critics called it rushed and self-serving. Activist investors said it locked out better options for shareholders, but Farrell defended it all as good for shareholders. Translation: insiders like Brookfield win and ordinary Albertans pay. After that, Farrell was parachuted into Trans Mountain. Remember, this was supposed to be a $7.4 billion private sector pipeline project, a twinning of an existing pipeline in the existing easement. But the federal Liberals in Ottawa refused to enforce the law against activists, so taxpayers were forced to buy the project for $4.5 billion. Under Farrell's watch, the budget exploded to over $34 billion, 8 times the original estimate. That's billions in taxpayer losses, years of delay, and billions more lost in oil revenue for Alberta and ultimately Canada. A project that should have been nation building became one of the worst government-run disasters in our history. And then came the secrecy. The federal court ruled against Farrell after she refused to release documents under the Access to Information Act related to the aforementioned Trans Mountain Pipeline project. The Information Commissioner declared that Farrell was in violation of her legal duty. Think about that. The CEO of a taxpayer-owned corporation ignoring lawful orders, hiding records Canadians have a right to see. Now, did she face consequences? Of course not. And Farrell failed upwards into yet another big promotion. Now Mark Carney has handed her the keys to Bill C-5's Major Projects Office. This office will pick which projects are in the national interest and then ram them through with minimal oversight. We've seen this before. Sustainable Development Technology Canada, the original green slush fund, where taxpayer dollars were funneled to insiders, friends, and failing green companies.
I believe the situation was that there was indications that I was requested to consider to be an applicant to this. I'm sure that the Privy Council office would have looked at a number of applicants. I would expect.
Okay. Ma'am, let's move to a different question. In your opening statement, you said repeatedly that the Ethics Commissioner said you acted in good faith. So are those your words or his? Because I looked through his report. I read it before, and I trust you did too. It says good faith in there one time, but it's not in this report talking about you being found guilty of this corruption. But it's not, that good faith phrase isn't about you. So why would you make that up? Why would you assert that in your opening statement today? He didn't say you were acting in good faith.
Mr. Chair, we just heard from the Commissioner, and I accept his findings.
Okay, so, ma'am, if you accept his findings, you'll recognize that in his findings, he didn't say that you acted in good faith.
Bill C-5 is the sequel. Bigger budget, bigger scope, less accountability, and with Farrell in charge, we know exactly how it ends. Hidden documents, again, sweetheart contracts, pet projects, and green mega projects that will blow past budgets while taxpayers just foot the bill. And look who's lining up to cheer Farrell on. Former Alberta PC Finance Minister Jim Dinning, former Alberta NDP Energy Minister and abject failure Marg McQuaig-Boyd, Liberal Cabinet Minister Anita Anand, supposedly people on opposite sides of the political spectrum, suddenly united in applause when all sides of the political aisles are singing the same tune. You know what that means. Farrell isn't exactly a good pick. She's an insider too. She's in the little club.
But she also has an incredible career in corporate Calgary with TransAlta, and I count her as an advisor. So I'm very, very pleased that the Prime Minister and I have something in common. He's going to count her as an advisor as well.
Now, this isn't about competence. It's about membership in the Ottawa Corporate Political Club. The fact that she's celebrated by conservatives turned lobbyists and Liberal ministers alike proves that she's the establishment's choice and not the people's. Look at the record. Coal phase out, billions wasted, higher bills, blackouts, entire towns unemployed, Brookfield deal, $750 million sweetheart terms for Carney's old firm, $250 million in stock buybacks. Trans Mountain, a $7.4 billion private sector project, boondoggled right into $34 billion in taxpayers' mess years late, and the economy damaged. Then there's the secrecy scandal, ignoring the law, refusing to turn over documents taxpayers are legally entitled to, and then all those insider endorsements, applauded by everyone who profits in the political game. Call me a skeptic, and I don't want Dawn Farrell to fail. But as they say, history may not repeat itself, it does, however, rhyme. Carney calls this nation building, but Canadians know better. It's empire building for Liberal insiders.
These big projects should not require tens of billions of dollars of taxpayer-funded subsidies. They are normally very profitable all by themselves. They get built all around the world by business because they are profitable. But here in Canada, we have the second slowest the Liberals have provided the second slowest building permits in the developed world and among the highest taxes. So nothing can get done on its own without massive government handouts and bailouts. We don't want a handout and bailout economy. We want a paycheck and production economy.
Bill C-5 will be nothing more than the Green Slush Fund 2.0, bloated budgets, hidden documents, and political friends getting rich while Canadians are left with higher bills, weaker energy, and even fewer jobs. Dawn Farrell isn't a bold choice. She's the ultimate insider, and that's exactly why she got the job. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Dawn Farrell was just a major player in the Great Green Reset here in Alberta, where we had to get off of the 800 years of clean burning coal we have under our feet, and now we face rolling brownouts. To sign our petition against the Green Reset, go to nogreenreset.com.